Welcome back to another epic stock to off-road machine video, aka Storm. Thank you for watching these videos. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and that little notification bell. And don't forget to get out there, have an epic adventure, hit as many rutted tracks as you can and get some epic wheel lifts along the way.
Where are we today?
Well, we're at the Adelaide Hills 4-wheel drive park, which is in St Ives, just immediately out of Cummington in the Adelaide Hills.
Okay, and how long have you been open for?
Exactly 24 hours.
And what are your plans going from here?
Well, our plans are to make some improvements. The property has been open for the last 15 years or so, and we see our opportunity is to come and improve the place. We think there's some real lacking in infrastructure with regards to standard motor cars, and we want to make sure that it's safe and usable for a standard car to go around and do everything from beginning to experienced to advanced.
Okay, and do you think that by the time yous have opened that yous will have a set package deal for people who want to attend?
We'll have a variety of packages. Those packages will be for people who have little to no experience, those who are a bit scared to come out and have a go. Yeah. We want to really open it up to women. We've found that in the past that women in particular are a bit scared to take a car out, especially if it's the old man's, and by having him hang around saying, that's not how you drive, we want to make sure that that's a passive learning environment.
It's actually a great idea. What can people expect when they attend the park once you do open?
Well, the first expectation is that they'll come into a welcoming reception area where they can get a coffee, and from there they can really decide what they're going to do. That decision is going to be based on the different tracks. They're going to be graded into colours. If you're inexperienced, it'll probably be a white track. You want to go and experience first, and that'll be mapped out clearly, and you can spend your day floating around on a white road.
Okay.
And I think it's important that we have an area that children and mums especially can come to and sit down and have a coffee and a cheese platter, or the kids can ride their push bikes, go to the campsites and have a barbecue ready for you. We're considering ordering in meat platters, so you can pre-order meat platters and you turn up and we have meat for either 20 people or a family of 4. Being able to have things available to you so you don't have to fill your car up and come out for a day. It's hop in your car, come out, pre-order, have water here for you, a day camping, a night camping, or staying in the accommodation.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are expecting to come back to Jacob Farm and it be identical to the way it was.
No.
How are you going to change it?
That's going to be a long-term plan. We've got an immediate plan which is going to take about 3 months to get through. From there we're going to extend into other areas. We expect a 3-year plan. I've got to tell you, there's a lot of work to be done. I think in its past life as Jacob Farm, the amount of damage that you were likely to occur, the level of difficulty was too high. And I think the target audience was like the top 5% of operator. And we in another world do corporate training, and those cars are standard, and they simply cannot even do a humble lap around here without doing damage to a standard motor car. That has to be fixed in the first 3 months. Then we need to make sure that the existing tracks are made safe. We have to deal with erosion. We're desperately trying to bring back wildlife. And we want to have more of a family atmosphere. We don't want a high-end clown atmosphere.
I did just have a question. What are the needs that people can meet by coming here? Can they come and help you? Do you have any need for any help from others?
There's 2 levels of help we're after. The first one is input. We want to hear from people, and we want people to say, look, this is what we're missing in our 4-wheel drive life, and we'd like that gap filled. And I believe we're in a position to deal with that because we've got a great deal of versatility here, and we enjoy motoring, we enjoy our family, and in its past life, it didn't satisfy that want. And so we want to hear from people about that. Your second question, or second part to that question, is what do we expect to do? The area which is behind you and covers what we're just calling the front valley at the moment is actually going to be the training ground. So that will be a dedicated training ground that won't be open to anyone and everyone. You need to be doing training to actually do that area. And it's also where you can be assessed. And so you can get a guide as to how good you are. And that way you can say, well, I'm a level white or a level green or a level black, and black, if I've got my colours right, will be the most advanced, and that will actually be dedicated to winching.
Yeah.
So, that's the level. We're still going to cater to that top end, but it's filling that little bit, which is going to be hard, isn't it?
It is. But, having volunteers that want to come out here, especially if they're skilled, one of the biggest things that we're going to come up against is the dollars. We can make it happen quicker with money, or it's a time that, in time as we start generating money within the park, that we will rewire the houses and put in more playgrounds and put in more barbecues. And we want to have shelters at every campground, and we want to have good toilets at every playground, at every campground. So anyone that has skills that want to come out here and say, look, we want to donate our time and we want to get you back on track too, we will welcome that. And having a plan to do that on our working bee days is, a massive help for us.
Engineering, excavation, design, all these things are important. People with an ecological understanding, helping us understand erosion better. These are skills which cost an awful lot of money, and if people are prepared to help with that, we'd really appreciate it.
Okay. In standing with speaking about training, will people be able to come out here and still just hit the tracks for a day trip, or is there also options to learn about your rig, learn about what you're capable of, and can you learn it?
So we've developed a program for very beginners, so you've just bought your very first four-wheel drive, and it goes through explaining low and high gear, traction control, all of the technology that isn't in a standard car. That goes for an hour, all the way up to accredited training. So if you require a certificate to go to the field, for example, we're qualified to deliver those training packages. Having companies come out here that have a fleet of four-wheel drives and they need to minimise their incident rate and mitigate risk, we do that every day in the Australian Driving Institute, the other business that we run. And so from the very beginner to non-accredited all the way up to high-end accredited training is something that we will offer here.
So this is going to be a very family-orientated but professional park.
Yes.
Oh, we have to be professional.
Yep.
We are governed by our own standards. We've always stuck to our own guns when it comes to our own standards and values, and it's paid off in our training world. Our training is modern, it's up to date. We would say that our instructors are advanced in their knowledge. They're all good people, they all love sharing their knowledge, and we would expect that someone can come here and have anything from 1 hour to half a day, 2 days, and that's just in four-wheel driving. And then winching, we're going to be doing a formal winching program, and that is up to 2 days long as well.
Wow, that's impressive. I think a lot of people, when they go out four-wheel driving, they learn via experience. So they don't have anybody to learn from. So they go out and they hit a track, and then they learn from that track, and then they progress from there. So,
and experience isn't always right, there's a famous saying, I learned to drive from a man who learned from a horse.
Yeah.
And formal learning means that you need to understand some things that you as a student don't need to understand the physics, us as an instructor do. And we need to be able to articulate that physics and those mechanical things into a simple language so that you can apply it and be safe and enjoy why you have that motor vehicle.
I think addressing people's needs when it comes to specifically female drivers, being secure and safe enough to come out and learn how to drive in an environment where they're not dictated to and they're not being bossed around and yelled at. I think that's really important.
I've got something really important to say about that. Women are generally easier to teach, and women generally in four-wheel driving end up being a little bit conservative but safer and just as competent. And I think it's really important women know that there's often information coming through from upstairs which is being also handed down father to son style, and there'd be a good percentage of that. I'd say 25% of it's inaccurate.
Wow, okay. That's amazing. Okay, so we've noticed when we come to the park that there's always a lot of risk to your vehicles. So when we go to a majority of the parks, a lot of people will leave with a broken axle, or their winching cables will be shredded, or their cars will have a lot of scratches on them. Will people be able to come here in their brand new just bought cars with no lift kits, just stock cars? Will they be able to bring them here and drive tracks?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And one of the things that we're doing this weekend is actually driving the tracks and cutting back branches that come over the tracks and are scratching cars. That doesn't cost a lot other than time. So making sure that little things like that are covered, but also going through the tracks and saying, okay, well, at an more experienced level, that is something that a lot of people do want to see and go around. But at a lower level where these, once again, the tracks are colour-coded, we're not going to have that. We're going to ensure that the big rocks that are going to pull a diff out aren't there. And, you know, if someone wants to go through a more challenging track that they have to manoeuvre to get around these things, those tracks will be available, but only to the people that have that high-end experience.
I have a target there. We're using a particular car. That car has to come back without a scratch on it and without damaging the side skirts. So it actually has side steps on it, and it's a standard car with standard sized tyres. The tyres are not from factory, they're better tyres, but the car is not jacked up. The car is bog stock standard, and it has side steps, and it has to be able to negotiate the entirety of the training track without any damage at all, not even a scratch to your rim. That is the target of the training ground. Then a white track, let's say, will have exactly that same target all the way up to the more advanced ones, and the only way you're going to incur damage is if A, you do something silly, or you go into a track which is unbelievably advanced, and you know it's unbelievably advanced, and there's no secrets that it's advanced, and then the risk goes up, and we would say, well, don't do that track. But you've got 80% of the tracks you can do without any damage. That's the target. Standard car with side steps.
Wow, that's impressive. Okay, is there anything else that you want to add? Any information or anything that you would like to hear from your audience, or anything that you would like to propose to people who want to come out here?
We have our information night, I believe, on the 22nd of March. We are going to give everybody an overview on that night of what our plans are and what we're rolling out at the moment. Going to have a whiteboard. It'll be ruled up with 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years. We're going to ask what you want, and where we think it's going to slot in, we'll write it on the board and build it into a business plan. So we want to give people ownership of change and see that what you're asking for is happening, but not say it's happening in 3 months. We want you to know that it's in a plan. The reason it might be 12 months is because we may need to get permission to do it. It may cost us $5,000 and we need to raise that money to do it, but it's in the plan. So anything that's in the business plan will happen, but we want people to see that this is how it's going to happen and that they're not going to be disappointed when they come out and it hasn't been done. And a prime example in this room here, as you can see, we've patched up all the holes that were in the wall. They've just been sanded down. There's a painter coming out tomorrow to paint, and so it'll be lightened up. It's all in soft greys and dark grey window sills. Upstairs there's training rooms that are being tidied up at the moment. There's a kitchen out here that's being prepared so we can have light snacks and drinks, somewhere to come where it's cooler with air conditioning on hot days. You know, this is just one area that we're working on. Steve, who's the overseer here, and a whole team tomorrow, just cutting back areas that have just never been cut back, where kids can just sit and watch what's happening around the park or ride push bikes. That doesn't cost a lot of money, it's just time. So it's just a lot of work that we've been given, and bringing it up to a professional standard that we're used to working within is our challenge. We can open it up and say, this is what you get, but we want you to come out and enjoy yourself. You know, the niceties in life go a long way. To be able to come into a room and it's cool and it's clean and it smells nice goes a long way, and it's not hard to do. So our focus at the moment is making a family-friendly, safe environment that you can come to and enjoy being here.
Okay.
I have a challenge. Come out now and see the journey from the beginning. Come out now, see what it is. We can point out the tracks which are safe to do, camp, experience how bad it is, and then come in 3 months, and then come in 6 months, and be part of that journey, and know that that is being invested correctly, and you'll see a difference every single time. That's my challenge.
Wow, thank you very much for this. As a sign-off, can you again state where we are?
We're at the Adelaide Hills 4-wheel drive park at St Ives, which is just off the Callington turnoff.
And I'm speaking to?
Cameron and Tony Waring.
Okay, thank you very much. This is Dr. Off-Road, signing off.
Thank you for watching another epic Dr. Off-Road Machine video, aka Storm. Don't forget to hit that little notification bell and the subscribe button. Hit up the rest of our socials, our TikTok, our Insta, our Facebook. If you think that we may be on the platform, or we should be on the platform, let us know, message us, hit up the comment section. Also, don't hesitate, because we're always there, always online, and we'll reply within the next 24 hours. We're always checking and making sure we connect with our fans in any way, in every possible way we can. It's Dr. Off-Road Machine, signing out.